What's up? It's Paul from Guitar World, and as you may be aware or not, Summer NAMM has been canceled. But that doesn't mean there's any shortage of new products and launches. So because you can't be there, we're going to bring all that stuff to you. So let's dig in and check it out. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Blue Mics for providing this Yeti X microphone, the boom stand, all of this to make me sound incredible on my end. Well, I'm very lucky to have here Mark from Canary Cables and one of their performing artists or endorsees, Dylan Rose. And we're going to be talking about your company, Canary Cables. And you can tell me all about it. Now, I'm lucky enough to be familiar with you guys because I have been some of your cables right over here. And then, of course, this solderless pedal board cable kit as well. So my first question, which is probably the most obvious one, is going to be like, there's so many cables out there. What made you decide to jump in on this business? This is a very, very saturated business, if you will, right?
My assumption was, the more money you put into it, the better the cable you have. There's a simple formula that says there's capacitance, you're going to send it over a length of cable. What frequencies do you want to send across that? It should be pretty easy. But really, what I found was it just wasn't that easy. And at the end of it, I was at work one day and I was like sharing this with a coworker and ranting on and on and on about how I could not buy the cable that I wanted. And then they just said, well, you should start your own company. And it was like hearing it in that context, it was just so obvious that I just went, okay, well, I put a lot of time into it. And I really do see that what's out there might not be exactly what people need. For the average hardworking musician, the options out there may be lacking. And so I just saw a void I could fill, and we jumped into it.
It seems like you're alluding to the fact that it's not all about necessarily having everything high-grade componentry. There's a lot of different things that you need to consider in order to make a high-quality cable, but also keep the cost down and keep the fidelity.
Wow, you said it great. At the end of the day, it's all about the tone. But until we get to the tone in the way that we design these cables, we first of all said they have to last. Because even if it sounds really, really good, if it breaks in the middle of anything, it's really not good. So, but I think you get the concept is you've got a whole bunch of knobs and you can turn them infinitely. So it's not just a matter of saying, well, we have the most, you just can't say it's the most flexible and it's the most durable. You can't do that. So you need to decide where it is to dial everything in. So we went ahead and we did it to my taste based on all of the experience from all the musicians I talked to. I'm very fortunate to be around a ton of incredible musicians. And, as we built out the studio, I really came to see that, there's a lineup of people that really wanted to use the studio and get involved in the stuff that we were doing. What was interesting was none of them asked me to be in their band. So I think I really found, in fact, when they were doing the Calling the Week album, I really was pestering Dylan to include me a credit that said I was their keyboardist. Because, I did all the keyboards. Anything to do with a computer was mine.
Despite not having any keyboards in the band.
Right, exactly. So
really what you're building here is, your own secret sauce, right? It's kind of your own chocolate chip cookie recipe. They all taste good, but this one, you're finding that perfect balance of where kind of everything works out and meets in the right place. But what I like to say, for example, I was just struck by how immediately the tone was better using your cables, having had them for a little bit now. And so obviously I was actually really enjoyed the one that I have here, the auto mute cable, which is one of those things, especially when you're changing guitars and you're pulling this out. I mean, there's no pops and there's no signal coming through. It's like dead quiet until you like make that solid connection into your guitar or into your pedal or amp. It's just, then you got pure signal. And of course, this is certainly the more traditional diameter for a cable. So I think a lot of guitar players will certainly gravitate there. And then of course you have yours, I believe this is the studio cable, which you can see this is a real thick cable. And again, you can, you're using some really great components here to create a great cable. But more importantly, it's the sound, right? And that was the first thing I noticed, is how it sort of, everything got a little cleaner, a little brighter. And I was just like, wow. Sometimes these are the things that you don't necessarily think about as a guitar player. You're just like, I just need this and this to work so I can play. But here you are creating a cable that actually, it brings a degree of fidelity to your sound. And that's not an easy thing to do. So big credit to you. So let me ask Dylan here. So what brought you to Canary Cable? Like, was you find that there was something you was missing? How do you make that connection?
10 or so years now, we've been working together with all kinds of stuff, and Mark's always been the best. He's just like plugged every hole that has ever been leaking in the band's ship. Whether it's a music video or we need a live recording or a website or a poster, a digital art, all kinds of stuff. And so. It was like he's saying, just kind of a natural evolution, I think, and personally for me, I've never been attached to one particular brand of cable. I've had the guitar obsession with certain brands, or, I got to use this pick, or I got to have these strings or whatever. But cables to me were a little more nebulous because it's just not something you can kind of see, so it's like you're relying on your ears, but then you have big brands with big reputations, and you have smaller brands with smaller reputations, and you have 100 different opinions, So I kind of got into it because I was just genuinely interested. And also, while Mark went on this journey, I wanted to improve my own sort of knowledge of that part of the game, because it's like, as it's a little bit of this, like, you're only as strong as your weakest link thing, So nobody wants to plug in a cable, unknowingly, that is far lower grade than, say, their pedals or their amp or their guitar, right? So It was a good learning experience for me too. And I guess I'm just really happy and excited for Mark, because here he's come upon this really cool product that we can all get behind, and the local scene's really getting behind it. Now he's selling them, all over the world or whatever. And it's kind of developing quickly. So I'm just excited for the future. And, when the world permits it, I'd love to go out and actually play some shows with this stuff. So.
Yeah, you and me both. I know. Well, luckily, there'll probably be maybe more outdoor shows at this point. So tell me about real quick about. Are you making a new line of cables now? Is that the new thing on board?
You mentioned the auto mute switch, which you liked it. People really have gravitated towards that. So I wasn't sure that people would like it or not. Really, when we designed it and put it into production. We threw it out there and people have gobbled it up. It's been really good. So the next obvious choice is any day now. I mean, what time is it? We're introducing our 20-foot version of the same cable. And then we're also introducing a new line of Kestrel cables, still in the Bird family. And with those, it's really kind of geared towards some of those European stages, the bigger stages with great sound systems, and the people that want to have cables that are maybe a little longer than 25 feet.
It's like really, festival length.
Yeah, festival length. Thank you. That's so we're really looking at meeting that challenge, and we'll be introducing that line very shortly as well. And then, of course, in the future, once we're really solidified with these, we're going to go towards microphones, cables.
Yeah, that I can't wait for. It'll be great. I'll certainly be using the microphone cables as well. So that sounds great. So before I wrap up, two things I want to say. It's like, You should definitely check out Dylan Rose. I saw some of for Archer Nation, as well as I saw some of your videos for Canary Cable. You did a great job, really. Definitely check out this Canary Cables. I love them. And Mark, is there anything that any last thing you'd like to offer us?
You know, I just really like to invite everybody to get heard with the bird.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan Price, and I like being heard with the bird.
Get 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 heard with the bird. Get heard with the bird.
Get heard with the bird.
Get heard with the bird.